You are listening to the Next Gen Jets show. Now, here are your hosts Connor Long, Chris Grasso, Jack Cotter, and Josh Willever.
Yes, you are, in fact, listening to the Next Gen Jet show, streaming live right here on YouTube and Twitter. What is going on, New York Jet fans? Hello, everyone. Welcome into the show. I'm Connor Long, joined as always by my incredible co-host right here on this Saturday evening, Jack Cotter to my left, Chris Grasso to my right. It is great to see everyone, however and wherever you are joining us right here on this Saturday evening, November 8th, 2025. Be sure to drop down below, smash that like button, hit subscribe. That is the free way to help support us in what we are doing here on the show and spread out our content to more and more Jet fans out on the internet. So again, smash the like button, hit subscribe, questions, comments, thoughts, load all of those up in the chat. If you want to call into the show, you could do so with the link pinned at the top of the chat or in the video description down below. Both the link is at the top of the chat in the description, so whatever is easier for you guys to access, you can find that. We appreciate the hell out of you guys. We appreciate your support as always. Again, smash the like, hit subscribe, continue to support us. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw this in the chat. Don't forget about the paid way to help us grow: super chats, memberships. Those go a long way as well. So get your super chats, get your memberships in the chat. Most importantly, smash the like, hit subscribe. That's free. Questions, comments, thoughts in the chat. Chris, this was such a boring week to be a New York Jet fan. Wake me up when there is any sort of news, please.
Oh my God, it was definitely a crazy week, certainly eventful for all of us. I was in school when the news broke, so I'm excited to get into the news with you guys.
Jack?
I'm just happy that the Jets are back in the Pats tomorrow. I may not be with Quinnen and Sauce, which is heartbreaking, but I'm just excited to see some more Jets football.
That's where we will start. Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. That will be a memorable day in Jets history, for better or worse. And I think that's where we're going to start. The first trade, of course, Sauce Gardner, the one that shocked everyone, the one that left everyone in surprise. Minutes before the trade first got reported by Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, who I believe had the initial scoop, Sauce Gardner tweeted out, "New York, it's been real." And we know Sauce Gardner has had a reputation for trolling fans, for trolling Jet fans in particular, especially on notable days like the NFL trade deadline. So everyone was responding, "Come on, Sauce, cut it out, man. You're playing with us. Stop trolling right here on trade deadline day. 8 games in to, well, even before your 4-year $100 million, $100+ million extension kicked in. Come on, Sauce, stop trolling us right here on NFL trade deadline day." And then minutes later, it's well. You're in shock. Sauce Gardner gets dealt to the Indianapolis Colts, 2 first-round picks. Adonai Mitchell, wide receiver, selected in the second round of last year's draft by Indianapolis. And I think it was a really interesting trade, right? Because the Jets weren't actively, of course, shopping Sauce Gardner. The Colts pretty much called the Jets up and said, "Hey, we want to get this done. What does it take?" And I give credit to Darren Muji not only for this deal, the Quinnen Williams deal that we'll also get into later, but I think the Jets pulled off an absolute fleece here in this Sauce Gardner trade, which we broke down during the week, of course, right here on the show. We did a breaking news 40-minute podcast on it. Again, I've said this many times in many articles. It's a gut punch for every Jet fan to lose a player like Sauce, but when you look at the return, it's hard not to be thrilled with the capital and the assets Darren Muji brought in from Sauce Gardner.
I think it's just, in terms of my stance on this, in terms of overall trades with the Quinnen and Sauce trades, I think this was a steal for the Jets. I think 2 first-round picks. You get 3 first-round picks in one day. I mean, how can any fan not be happy about that? However, in terms of replacing the guys that we lost, that's where I start to get a little skeptical on it. Quinnen Williams, I don't think will be as bad as replacing as Sauce Gardner, just because I think the defensive line in this upcoming draft isn't too bad and compared to the cornerback. Compared to the defensive back.
So early
this upcoming draft.
Like how do we know any of these guys other than quarterbacks? It's so early.
Usually, you have to think by this time of year, especially with the college football season winding down, you'd at least see, some guys that you stick out to you. Like, there's no defensive backs to me that really stick out to replace Sauce Gardner. And even if there was, I don't know if I'd be confident enough in trusting them over Sauce Gardner to be our cornerback one next to Jarvis Brownlee this season and seasons to come. I think I do trust Brownlee though to replace Gardner to an extent. I am very proud with Brownlee over the past couple weeks, but in terms of just drafting a corner, I don't really see anybody that's able to compete at the level that Sauce Gardner did with the Jets.
Well, and Sauce Gardner, I'll let you get in here, Chris. Sorry, I just
Yeah.
want to give my take quickly on what Jack said. Sauce Gardner, you're not really replacing him. There are a few cornerbacks, in my opinion, in this league who are better than Sauce Gardner when it comes to an overall perspective and coverage. Obviously, that being his strong suit in tackling, and he makes up for as poor of a tackler he is due to his stingy coverage and his ability to lock down and pretty much eliminate whoever he is guarding from the opposing team's game plan each and every single week. The thing is, you don't need to find a better player than Sauce Gardner at cornerback to win a Super Bowl. You look at the teams that succeed in the NFL and, the dynasties that win Super Bowls year in and year out. Sure, the Kansas City Chiefs have Trent McDuffie. Sure, they had L'Jarius Sneed a few seasons ago. Sure, the Philadelphia Eagles have Cooper DeJean. But at the end of the day, this is a quarterback-driven league. This is an offense-driven league. If you want to go far, you have to have a high-powered offense. Chief among those, you have to have a franchise quarterback to win in this league. And the Jets took Sauce Gardner, who's a very good cornerback, and turned him into multiple first-round picks that are going to not only potentially be used on the quarterback that Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji want to develop and want to instill their trust in as their guy, but will also be used to create infrastructure around that quarterback so he is in the best environment to succeed right away. Chris Grasso, thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, these were at the end of the day deals that Muji couldn't refuse. Like they offered, you came away with 3 first-round picks, and that is exceptional. So in 2027, you have 3 first-round picks alone, and next year you have 2 first-round. I mean, this coming year you have 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks. So you have all the ammo now to get a franchise quarterback, whether it be Mendoza, whether it be, you heard the report of them trying to trade for Burrow. So I mean, ultimately we have like a bunch of draft capital that be. It's ultimately whether or not you trust them to use it the right way. I mean, like now Muji and Glenn get what at least the next 2 years, and that's
at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the problem comes with this, because, like, do you really trust Glenn and Muji those picks? And, like, what we've seen this year, now they kind of get an excuse. Oh, we traded away Sauce. We traded away Quinnen. Like, that's why we sucked. No, you had talent on this team. Like, you should have – ultimately, this season should have been better than what it is right now. So I'm just concerned about the direction of this team, like, and who's making these picks. But ultimately, you have all the ammo, and there's too many picks. Like, you had to hit on at least 2 of those. I mean, there's so many that, like, you can't miss on all of them. It's literally impossible. So, like, at the end of the day, you have to at least draft a good player by accident. So, I mean, I'm excited.
Mendoza.
Yeah, hopefully Mendoza. We were all watching the game earlier today. Mendoza had an extremely comeback drive. He making a lot of pro-esque throws. So I'm excited to see. I really want Mendoza. That's what they should go out and get Mendoza in this year's draft and build around him, make a good defense for him, fill some defensive holes, if you will, in free agency, and then just draft offense. Offensively, you got to draft a receiver. So this year you can go Mendoza, then receiver. And then next year you can use all that capital. I mean, not next year. In 2027, you can get a guy like Jeremiah Smith who's going to change the game. Then you can ultimately fill with all the second-round picks you have and later first-round picks you're going to get. You can use them to fill up some defensive holes. Yeah. So I'm excited to see how the future of this franchise looks.
Certainly. And the Jets have 3 picks set to be in the top 50 of this year's NFL draft. So those should be 3 immediate contributors, one of which could certainly be a quarterback. You mentioned Mendoza. I'm going to pull up a tweet that I put out just after the conclusion of today's thrilling game against Penn State, Indiana versus Penn State. I said, yeah, Fernando Mendoza definitely had some rough stretches today. Certainly was not his sharpest outing, but that final drive, he had ice in his veins, and that's the moment. Those are the flashes that you want to see of your future quarterbacks. Those are the flashes that you want to see in a Heisman contender. And I think he's a perfect fit in Engstrand's offense. He was screaming Jared Goff to me this summer when I was watching him, and that comp obviously furthermore been placed on full display. The Jets brass was in attendance. General manager Darren Muji and Rick Spielman were at today's game in Happy Valley, so they certainly saw a pretty entertaining performance. But at the end of the day, the quarterback has to hit for this regime. They continue to take risky gambles. This certainly headlining them. We're going to get more into the future direction of this team later on in the show. We're going to get more in depth on the quarterback position later on in the show. We're going to break down the Quinnen Williams trade, head into second half of the season expectations. Then we're going to hit the big picture with the quarterback, and along the way, we want to engage with you. So questions, comments, thoughts, throw all of those in the chat right here on the Next Gen Jet Show. Continue to smash the like button and hit subscribe, folks. We appreciate the hell out of you guys. We appreciate your support, as always. Now, the Quinnen Williams trade. This one, I think, was the biggest fleece of them all. Quinnen Williams is an incredible football player. Quinnen Williams was a part of the Jets' defensive identity. He didn't have a C on his chest for no reason. He has been through everything. He went through Gase. He went through Saleh. He went through half a season of Aaron Glenn. 3 different coaches for Williams since being drafted 3rd overall in 2019. He was pissed off with the Jets, and it's hard to blame him. It was reported by Connor Hughes of SNY that he had requested a trade on 3 separate occasions leading up to Tuesday's deadline, and the Jets ultimately deal him for a package that I think was a very, very, very solid return. A first-round pick, a second-round pick on top of Mozzie Smith, who was an intriguing case that we can get into, a former first-round pick just a few years ago out of Michigan, who will get his opportunity to prove his round 1 pedigree in New York. This, Chris, when I saw this trade go through, I was doing victory laps around my house. I was excited for the return that Darren Muji got on a player like Quinnen Williams, who frankly has been declining every single season. But not only that, he didn't want to be here. He was getting out on the older side. They weren't going to redo his contract. I'm happy with this deal.
Nah, I think the Quinnen trade was great. Like you mentioned there towards the end of that monologue, they weren't going to redo his deal anyway. So getting a first and a second for him is really like such a great get back, such a great return for him. And it's always tough to see your like best 2 defensive players flash before your eyes in a span of an hour. So it really is a gut punch. It really was sad. These are the players that I will look back and say I grew up on. I mean, even though it was kind of short-lived for Sauce, like I remember where I was when they drafted him. I had COVID and I was laying in my parents' bed watching on the big screen TV when what's his name? The owner, the commissioner of the NFL.
Roger Goodell.
Yeah,
Roger Goodell.
Thank you. Said Sauce Gardner, Cincinnati. So I mean, it really was heartbreaking. I was skeptical of the moves at first, but now that I've had a couple nights to sleep on it, like the return really is so good. And we like if they hit on these picks, the direction of this franchise is so positive. So ultimately, I mean, we can look at it from the optimistic side. The team is still 1-7 right now. They have to out tank the Saints and Browns, and then we can be blessed by Mendoza's presence. So I mean, I'm excited to see how the sequence of events leads out and what we will end up doing with these picks.
That's the question we're going to get into later on in the show. And then, Jack, go ahead. How good really is Fernando Mendoza? People are talking about tanking for this guy already. I think Mendoza is a very good quarterback. I have been big on him since the summer. But how good is he? That is the question we're going to dive into later on in the program. We want to engage with everyone on. Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to back off of what Chris said. I believe I let emotions take the best of me, especially within the first couple hours of the trades. But the Quinnen, again, like Chris said, the more I got to sleep on it, the more I realized that the Quinnen Williams trade was definitely more even than I thought it was. Right? You get you don't just get a first round pick, you get a second round pick as well, which you can use for extra weapons and receivers for your future quarterback, and maybe even you can use that in the first round of the 2027 draft. Who knows? But Quinnen, like you said, Connor, as well, he was getting older as well. I believe he's 28 now. I want to say around that age, 27. So especially for a very physical position like defensive tackle, 27 is not really a spring chicken for that position. So they weren't going to renew his contract anyway. And even though Quinnen was supposed to be a part of this rebuild, even though he was such a leader, such a great guy in general, it's sad to see him go. But I think we will have a good future because of those picks.
Gentle giant.
Yeah, absolutely. And now let's focus on the present. I know it's easy to get ahead of ourselves here. The Jets are 1-7. We're looking forward to the second half of the season, and especially after these deals, the focus of this fan base overall, which is hard to blame, has shifted to the draft, has shifted to April, the offseason. What moves is this regime going to make in their second off season after their first full regular season together? And when we talk about realistic expectations for the second half of the year, it's certainly an interesting conversation, right? Because the Jets couldn't have went into the bye week on a higher note, 39-38, the final in Cincinnati, their first win of the year. But at the same time, we can't get over our skis and have that game negate the first 7 of the season, of which the Jets all came out on the losing side of. So they're 1-7 entering the second half of the year. Chris, expectations for Aaron Glenn's second half of his first year being an NFL head coach.
So what the Jets have done by trading Sauce and Quinnen is showing that they're going to tear it down and like make this a full rebuild. When I mean, it could be debated on whether or not that had to be the case. Some would say there was enough talent. I mean, ultimately, that's what they did. That's their decision. And now this is their case to Woody on why they're going to get another 2 years. So, I mean, ultimately, I think Glenn really did coach a fantastic game versus the Bengals, which kind of restored some faith in him for me. And that game gave me a lot of hope for him. I was an advocate of when we were winless, so I was like, all right, this guy sucks, like fire Glenn. But now, I mean, he can string together a couple of games here. And while I'm still going to be rooting for wins and rooting and cheering for big plays, obviously, like the best thing that could happen for us is to lose all these games and out tank, if you will, the Saints and Browns, so we can have our best shot at our
Absolutely.
whether it be Mendoza. So I want them to draft Mendoza this year. I think that is the easiest way to kind of have a guy that you're going to develop and you're going to call your own, basically. So, I mean, if you don't tank for Mendoza, like what other options is there? I don't particularly like any of the other quarterbacks in this year's draft. I think if it's not tank for Mendoza, I mean, I heard Adam Schefter say he wouldn't rule out trading for Burrow. I mean, how good would that be? We have plenty of assets to trade for Joe Burrow. So while all that is interesting and how we can get our quarterback can be discussed there in the show, what I expect from Glenn, I don't expect much from the second half of this season. Like our team we're already 1-7. I don't foresee them winning more than 4 games, and I don't want them to win more than 4 games because I don't know how much winning these meaningless games is going to do for the franchise. Sure, you can talk about these games as like culture builders and games that would give you confidence in Aaron Glenn, but I don't think we need that right now. I think we should just need to be, again, solidifying our draft position so we can get Fernando Mendoza. I don't want to win any meaningless games. I don't see it necessary. I mean, I just want Glenn and Mushi to go in knowing who they're going to select for months, and because that's the only way they're not going to mess it up. So I just want them to take.
It's still not a guarantee, though. I mean, we spoke about this earlier. These number 1 overall picks still certainly aren't surefire things. Sure, you know, it limits the potential of the Jets missing on the guy, but still, we have not seen in so long a consistent amount of number 1 overall picks turn into franchise quarterbacks. The Super Bowl MVP, who just won a Super Bowl and has been in the Super Bowl 2 times over the past 3 seasons, was a second-round pick. So at the end of the day, sure, the number 1 overall pick gives you the best chance at hitting on your guy, but still, it hasn't worked for many, many years. So while I understand, you know, what people are trying to say by tanking, it still isn't a surefire thing that, oh, okay, if the Jets lose out, they have the number 1 overall pick guaranteed. The Jets are going to draft Mendoza or find whoever their guy is, and they're going to bring him to a Super Bowl. So that's, I think, the ultimatum for me. Jack, fire away.
In terms of the second half of the season, I don't see much, which, again, I'm kind of torn on. You want to see the Jets win games, but at the same time, you want to get Fernando Mendoza. So it's nice because for me, the second half of the season, I don't think I'll be as mad, as anxious, as stressful. Yes, exactly. It'll still be a little bit of stress just because it's the Jets, but it won't be as bad as the first half now that I know what we've got ourselves into for this season. And sure, we've seen these games plenty of times before, mid-season comebacks, I guess you could say, maybe one-season comebacks last season with the Texans, 2023 with the Broncos, 2021 with the Bengals, 2021 with the Bengals, this season with the Bengals. So who knows? You know, it's not a guarantee that the Jets will win more games after the Bengals. However, I do see them realistically beating the Saints. The Saints are absolutely horrible. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a high scoring extravaganza like it was against the Bengals. I think it'll be a very ugly win for the Jets that game, but I do have them getting the win that game. But I don't think it's going to be anything special. I don't think this Bengals win means anything for the future. Sure, maybe it boosts team morale for a couple of weeks, but as soon as we start losing again, it's going to be the same old Jets again. Back to that top 3 pick position. Get your guy Fernando Mendoza. Build your team around him. Boom. You got yourself. This regime has themselves a future quarterback, hopefully.
Smash the like
Well,
button, hit subscribe. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw those in the chat. Jack Cotter, Chris Grasso, Connor Long, right here with you guys on a Saturday edition of the Next Gen Jet Show. Again, questions, comments, thoughts, throw those in the chat. Call into the show with the link pinned at the top of the chat or in the video description down below. We'll go over to the phone lines. First up here on the show is our guy Alan, gracing us with his presence. Alan, how are you doing, my friend?
A couple of comments. First of all, frustrated by my Iowa loss, but that's just me. It's typical because they play like the Jets for the most part.
Rough times.
So, Chris, I have a question for you.
Mhm.
So you're basically saying that this team should not have traded both those guys? You think this team should not have torn it down?
No, I believe that they made the right thing. They did the right choice by trading them. That's an offer you can't refuse for like all the first round picks they got. I think they did the right thing.
Do you think they did enough?
So what I think they could have traded Quincy up because at that point, if you're going to trade Quinn, just get Quincy out of there too. I think he should have been gone too. But I like how they kept Brees and Jermaine.
So you think you're going to give Brees Hall $14 million a year?
I would franchise tag him.
Okay, just curious.
Yes.
A couple of comments. First of all, you guys talk about Fernando Mendoza like he's the all world. He's a good
Thank you.
quarterback. Okay, he's a good quarterback. Okay. First of all, I would not trade multiple assets to go get him. Okay. Now that you have 3 first-round picks in 2027, you can slow play the rebuild. Okay. I keep hearing people say, "Oh, we should go all in and go get a quarterback in 2026." No. If the quarterback does not fall to us, I do not want to give multiple first or second round assets to go get him. Okay. I would rather trade back in 2026, maybe get future picks. Maybe you can find a way to get a 4th first rounder, or maybe you can get more depth picks, like more second day picks, like second round, 3rd round, maybe even next year's second. I keep hearing people say, "Oh, we have to get a quarterback in the 2026 draft." Why? There's no need to rush. I honestly don't know if I have a lot of confidence in either Simpson or Mendoza to be the guy. If they fall to us and we like them, that's another story. The idea that we have to trade multiple picks to go get them is ridiculous, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wouldn't give like a lot of our first round picks to go down and get Mendoza if we didn't need to. Like, but who are we going to run out at quarterback next year if we don't get anyone in this offseason, Alan?
Plenty of options. You can get a stopgap guy. These guys grow on trees in free agency. Like, you could find someone intriguing. I read an article from my colleague Michael Nania earlier today who mentioned a potential Mac Jones trade. And like, I'm not sitting here advocating the Jets to trade for Mac Jones, but there are a ton of stopgap options out there. Like, Alan, what they could even do is they could try to take a flyer on a quarterback in one of the later rounds of this year's draft. And maybe that's not their guy, but he could be kind of, a bit of a project for this team. So, look, I don't have a definitive answer on who the starting quarterback is going to be week 1 of next season. All I'm saying is, I entirely agree. I made that comment earlier in the show. I think Fernando Mendoza is very good. I don't think he's a surefire guy who comes in and completely resurrects your franchise overnight. I think this, I said this since the very beginning when I started watching this class. I think this class was very overrated relative to the expectations. I think 2027 is going to be the year where we see the big names. I think Dante Moore doesn't come out of Oregon this year. I think he stays another year. And he comes out in 27. I don't think Lenora Sellers is coming out this year after what he's put on tape. I think he's going to go back to school. So at the end of the day, there is no rush, and they could find a stopgap guy who could maybe be a little intriguing. There's no point, though, in rushing this rebuild right now. They have all these assets, and you want them to be allocated correctly.
Finally, again, as I said, I don't think they should trade up for a quarterback. Also, I do not think they should trade up in general in this draft. Again,
Agreed.
to me, there's only 2 worthy first-round wide receivers in this draft. That's Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate. Do I think that they're game changers? No. I think the game-changing wide receivers will be in the 2027 draft. It will not be in this draft. Again, with the assets that they have and $100 million in cap space, you have the ability to maneuver so many different ways
Mhm.
I get frustrated by listening to people say, "Oh, we have to get a quarterback. We have to trade up for a quarterback. We have to trade up for a wide receiver." No, you don't. Okay. I would rather, honestly, I would rather slow play 2026 if you cannot get either Simpson or Mendoza, if they think that those are the top two guys. And I would rather trade back and get other assets, future assets. Build a team with the trenches, build a team around the quarterback. So by the time when you have an opportunity to get that quarterback in 2027, you have all the talent around him. That's the bottom line. And I get frustrated when people say you have to get a quarterback in 2026. You do not. With 3 first-round picks in 2027, stand pat, and do not trade multiple assets to go get him.
Yeah, I
That's the
mean,
bottom line.
if they tank properly, they can just get Mendoza either way, though. So I mean, that's why I want
I
them to
don't know
lose out.
what does tanking properly mean? I'm
Oh.
trying to understand that.
Just losing out.
Trust me, I'm in the same boat as you. I hope they lose every game the rest of the year, okay? But I don't understand what tanking properly is. First of all, I think they'll win tomorrow, even though they're underdogs. I do.
Yeah.
I think they'll win. They'll find a way to win tomorrow. I think Tennessee will not win another game the rest of the year, and I think they will take that first pick and they will find a team willing to trade multiple assets to go get a Mendoza if they think he's the guy. I just hope that team is not us, because I like Fernando Mendoza. I don't love Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, I don't
He's a
think you
good
really have.
player.
I don't think you have to worry about, like, the Saints could certainly be in the Mendoza conversation. What I think happens with the Saints, I think they're picking in the top 3. And I think what they do is they trade back into the middle to end of the first round, get a
Get
king's
Nuss.
ransom, and then take Nussmeier, Garrett
Yeah.
Nussmeier to LSU, the connection, obviously his father, the offensive coordinator over there. So I see that happening. I think for the Jets to be in striking distance on whoever their quarterback is, they have to be ahead of Miami. I think that's the golden team, because if you look at the other teams there, you mentioned New Orleans. I think they're going to trade back. Tennessee, they're not taking a quarterback, of course.
They're
The
gonna trade
Jets sit
back.
at 3 right now. And then right after the Jets for Miami, I think they're going to take a quarterback in this year's draft. And then
It's either Miami or the Raiders. Those
the
are the two
Raiders
teams
or
that
the
would
Browns
be the
are an interesting watch.
and the
I
Browns.
don't know where the Browns stack up, because they're kind of in that purgatory range with Gabriel and Sanders. I don't think they believe either one of those guys are
do
their
not.
long-term answers. So they're going to be in the market for a quarterback as well. There are going to be a lot of talks on this quarterback class. Alan, we appreciate the call. You got any final thoughts here before we give our thoughts on what you said and let you go?
Finally, don't trade for Dak Prescott. Do not trade for Kyler Murray. And Joe Burrow is a pipe dream. Okay. So when I listen to it on other shows, they continue to sound like morons. So please do not mention Joe Burrow again on this show. It's not happening. Have a
Thank
good
you,
one,
Alan.
guys.
We appreciate it. Thank you for the call, Alan. Thank you for joining us.
The Cardinals are another one of those teams that could trade up maybe for a quarterback if they want to get rid of Kyler. That's interesting. They're
They could
interesting.
trade up, and the Kyler Murray conversation is an interesting one. I don't think the Jets should be entertaining a Kyler Murray trade. At this point, it's certainly an interesting conversation to have, and we can have that conversation right now. Chris knows, an avid listener of the show, back when the Jets moved off of Aaron Rodgers. Chris knows that I floated around Kyler Murray as a potential trade candidate for this team. And I'm not walking back my comments from then. All I'm saying is so much has changed since I made those remarks, with both Murray's status and the current status of this Jets organization. Yep. At the end of the day, Kyler Murray, they should not be entertaining a trade for him. This guy continues to get injured and injured. He's hampered with injuries every single year. His play since he got that contract has just fallen off a cliff and continued to digress each and every single season. Look, when the Jets signed Fields back in March, they took a calculated risk. There was, I don't think, a wide belief that he was going to be the long-term guy, but with that elite athleticism, the flashes of tangible growth and his ability overall, a first-round pick just a few years ago, it made sense to take a swing on him. Now, the Jets officially miss the pinata with that swing, and they have to go back to square one. At the end of the day, trading for Kyler Murray is not the answer. This is trying to take a shortcut in a rebuild, and this could frankly derail the entire rebuild. So at the end of the day, Trading for Kyler, not the answer whatsoever. Does not make sense for the Jets to do it. They'd have to give up assets. It really wouldn't make sense. This regime, what they need is just a fresh start. Take their guy, develop him, bring in a young quarterback here. We don't need Kyler, the Call of Duty King Murray, to be the New York Jets' #1 quarterback come September of 2026.
Yeah, so even if they are going to draft Mendoza this year, I want them to bring in a veteran so that Mendoza doesn't have to be thrown into the fire.
Yes, absolutely.
So either way, even if you're
Jacoby Brissett.
not taking a quarterback this year, you can just get a guy like Jacoby Brissett, get him for like, I don't know, 1 or 2 years, and then you have him through this year, through next year, in theory. And then in the year also that your quarterback's taking, if you're going to take a quarterback in 2027, I'd rather them just get Mendoza this year because it makes things quicker. But I mean, if I do not want to rush things either. I agree with Alan in that aspect. I don't want to give away a half our first round picks to be earned from the Colts and the Cowboys. I don't want to give away any of that just to reach on Mendoza this year. I just want to be in that spot naturally. So if I had it my way, we'd get Mendoza and a veteran quarterback this year. So the veteran would start, then maybe Mendoza come in halfway through the season if necessary. We take a receiver with the second first round pick we have this year. And then in 2027, we just fill in whatever other holes we need. Maybe get Jeremiah Smith, maybe get some defensive pieces. And the thing I'm going to put most emphasis on is having a good free agency defensively in this offseason and next offseason. We need to fill up all our defensive holes. That's really what free agency is for. So it comes down to Muji making the right picks and the right free agent signings. So we'll see.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, when you talk about Kyler Murray, I've seen the cap calculations. If they were to trade for him, it wouldn't put him in cap. It wouldn't be like the Russell Wilson thing where if he sucks, you're caught in this pretzel for 5 seasons. But essentially, it would be a 1-year, $39 million tryout for Kyler Murray to come play with the Jets on a 5-year deal. That would be a little less than half of the Jets' cap space this offseason allocated towards Kyler Murray. Doesn't make sense. Do not do it. I mean, a name that we can explore later, CJ Stroud, if they were to move on from him in Houston, he could be a name to watch.
I'd be down.
I hate it, but at the end of the day, I stand by the fact that I think the Jets just need to get their quarterback in the draft. When it comes to Joe Burrow, I don't see a world where it happens. I know Shefty didn't rule it out. Schefter's the best to do it in the NFL. When it comes to insiders, at the end of the day, he just gave his opinion on what is happening in Cincinnati. And if Joe Burrow were to want out and if they were to start a deal, it makes sense with the Jets kind of just connecting
we have plenty of picks to go up for him.
Connecting the dots there and reading between the lines. I think if he's available, you have to trade for him. I get it. He struggles to stay on the field. But at the end of the day, when he is out there, he's a top 3 quarterback in the sport. If he becomes available and the Jets engage in those talks, the question becomes, are the Jets really a quarterback away? The same conversation we had just 2 years ago with Aaron Rodgers. Those same talks will emerge if the Jets engage in conversations when it comes to acquiring Joe Burrow.
Chris would love Richardson.
That guy sucks.
Let's put that conversation away
He's
for now.
terrible.
I know.
Especially after I was doing my analytics on AD Mitchell for some of my articles, and then Chris, the Anthony Richardson fanboy Grasso, can engage in our talks here. Richardson completed like 50-something% of his passes in 2024 when he killed AD Mitchell. I'm surprised, AD Mitchell didn't, ask out after year 1 in Indianapolis with the way that Anthony Richardson was playing. So the AR fanboy, fire away.
No, so I was going to get into what you said about Burrow. The Jets have been building their offensive line since the Douglas days, and I know he didn't do a good job, but they put a lot more emphasis on O-line than the Bengals did. So while I understand Joe Burrow has had issues staying on the field, the Jets have emphasized a lot more on O-line than the Bengals have. So ultimately, I think this is a much safer spot for him to come in. And what you said, are the Jets really a quarterback away? No, but what I picture giving up for Burrow would be I think 3 first-round picks, which still leaves us with our own 2 or someone's 2 first-round picks between this year and next year if we were going to go in and trade for him this offseason. So ultimately, I think getting Joe Burrow, hell, it doesn't hurt at all. I think that would be a great move. And if it becomes available, they should, without a shadow of a doubt, pounce on it because you can still build your team around Joe Burrow. That's the easiest thing to do. That's the easiest thing to ask. Just give him an O-line and Garrett Wilson. And I think AD Mitchell is a really sneaky addition, by the way. But Garrett Wilson and AD Mitchell, if you give Joe Burrow that and a good O-line, it's just up to you to build the defense. So, I think makes it so easy for this regime to succeed if Burrow becomes available. It's not even funny.
And it takes him staying on the field as well. That is the other.
But we allocate a lot to O-line, and we might do more if we
Well,
get
still, I mean, the guy gets. I know it's not a good O-line, but the guy gets injured every single.
They gave him the
season.
same, like they gave him an Andrew
And
Luck.
I'm not even gonna entertain it. I'm not even gonna spend so much time on it because again, this is not happening. The Jets will never trade for Joe Burrow. The Bengals are not gonna shop him. It's never gonna happen. It's fantasy talk at the end of the day, but we're always down for
As Jack sipped away on his Dr. Pepper from Chick-fil-A.
Lemonade, but okay.
Smash the like button, hit subscribe. Chris, Jack, Connor, right here with you guys. Saturday edition of the Next Gen Jet Show. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw those in the chat. Call into the show with the link pinned at the top of the chat. We'll keep it going with your calls. Philly Noodles is up next here on the show. Philly, what is going
Hello.
on, sir?
Good evening, young sirs. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm well.
Not
How are you?
bad. Not bad. So that's an interesting take. I think Anthony Richardson was so bad. It's what spiraled my take on saying get Daniel Jones, because if he lands in Indianapolis, he would take over the starting role in 6 weeks. I was wrong. He did it immediately, and they're that good. So, excuse me, bad take. He should have been selected by the Jets. But you know what's interesting? I'm watching Ty Simpson's game right now. He's got pocket poise, and he's got developing pockets because the line – Alabama always has a good line every season. So I think what I'm more worried about is I know they went to see Mendoza heavily today. Obviously, the reports came out. I'm more concerned about when we're looking at the draft as everything settles and the dust settles and every team sucks that's on top of the list, and we're going to be one of them probably. Where do we sit between 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, the first 5 picks? Because
Probably 3.
you'd have to think, right? Like the Raiders, if they're top 3, top 5, they're going to draft a quarterback at some point. They have to. No matter if they sign Geno or not, he's not probably the answer. So I can see them maybe striking there because they're not going to take a lineman top 3 picks, and Max Crosby's there to stay for what it looks like right now, unless you get a deal that's too good to take, to not take. And then, anybody else who's that bad, will they draft a quarterback? Meaning, will the Mendoza hype drive a team to say, we're just going to do it? Or do the Jets feel they can settle into, let's say, they pick 3 or 4 and just wait because they think they're going to be able to get him? That's, because I do think they will take Mendoza. The kid's showing a lot of guts, a lot of grit. And that's where we're building a team around is grit, taking hits, staying in the pocket like today he did. I see them doing it because you know what? If you guys think I'm crazy for saying this, even if we obviously are not a quarterback away from the first season, we draft him. If he comes in halfway through the season, we end up winning 5 games, maybe 6 miraculously, you still are loading up pieces around them immediately in the next draft with 3 picks.
Absolutely. I mean, you have Jeremiah Smith coming out in that draft 2027. If the Jets have 3 first-round picks that year, if they could somehow get Jeremiah Smith, I think imagine the duo between Garrett Wilson and Jeremiah Smith. I mean, if Fernando Mendoza has that, I think the Jets offense will be complete. I think they will be complete, and I think it will be a really good run for Mendoza.
I mean, you're looking at defensive player too. Now you could just start arming both sides of the ball, and I think that's the biggest thing is where the shakeup is, where people feel about Mendoza. Because I think honestly, I wouldn't call it crazy, right? If we pick 4th or 5th. Mendoza's got the hype, and you know how they turn up the hype on the offseason, and teams at the top sitting at 1 might encourage a team like the Jets who need a quarterback. Let's say we get rid of our first round this year coming up.
Yep.
We give them one for next year, and we give them something else, and we move up, grab Mendoza. You still have 2 second-round picks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like there's still ammunition. I do think that could happen. And most people will probably get mad because I originally wanted 2 first-round picks coming up. So this trade got my brain saying I'm already where I wanted to be anyway as a fan. So what do you guys think about it?
I think that's valid for sure. I mean, like when you talk about trading up for Mendoza, I think there's a fine line between giving up way too much and giving up enough because you have faith in a guy. The situation you propose is giving up enough. Like you're not giving up too much there if you really believe that Mendoza is the guy, which he looks damn good in the game today. We were all watching that last drive. He was making some pro level throws. So I mean, it's great. That I watched, I was like, damn. that's my guy, and I hope Glenn and Muji see it the same. As we heard that.
Well, they
we
sent
heard
like
that
7 people there, dude.
yeah, they sent the house to that game, so I'm happy
Yeah,
that they're looking at it and they're seeing it from the angle that we're all seeing it from.
Connor's quiet. Connor, what do you got, man?
Yeah, I was kind of letting you give
Okay.
your take there as I processed it. I think Mendoza's good. I don't know if he's great when it comes to immediately contributing at the NFL level. I think he has the poise. I think he has the control to handle the New York media, to handle all that comes with being a quarterback number 1 as a rookie in the New York market. When it comes to his ability, I think he's a very good player. I just don't view him as this game changer. Like, I don't think he's the Cam Newton right away. I don't think
No.
he's this clear-cut number 1 guy. And the thing that concerns me is, I want to give him as much praise as possible, but he's a traditional pocket passer. Like, I don't trust, I like the Dante Moores. I like the Lenora Sellers. Like, Dante Moore is someone I'd highly, highly, highly have to look at. I just don't think he's coming out till 27.
Yeah. You see him rip that run?
Yeah, dude,
yeah.
I want
I
to
was
play
like,
like
oh, there
that.
you go.
Who could design I hate making MVP comps, but that's Lamar, Dante Moore to me. Like, you need a guy who I think can light up the field for you, who can make the big plays. And sure, Mendoza can do that with his arm. He could be a Jared Goff. But at the end of the day, I think the Jets need to take someone who they think can, bring them to a Super Bowl, that can bring them to an AFC Championship game. And I think Mendoza is very, very, very good. I just don't think he's in that great tier. And I said it earlier in the show, I'll say it again. Sure, the number 1 overall pick gives you the best chance of hitting on a quarterback, but it is still far from a guarantee. The quarterback who has been in the Super Bowl 2 out of the 3 past seasons, who just won a Super Bowl and won Super Bowl MVP in Jalen Hurts, was a second-round pick.
Right.
Bryce Young was selected with the number 1 overall pick. Trevor Lawrence was selected with the number 1 overall pick. C.J. Stroud, who had a great rookie season, was selected number 2, but he does not look like a number 2 overall pick. So at the end of the day, the elite players who come from the top 3, they're far and few in between at the quarterback position. So you just got to hope the Jets are able to flip that trend.
That's
And
why
Jalen
I
Hurts
say to let it, oh, go ahead.
No, you're good, but Jalen Hurts, Connor, in his defense, there was also 2020 is probably the best quarterback class we've seen in a long time. You had Herbert, you had Burrow, you had Tua Tagovailoa, who obviously I know is not looking the best right now. You had Jordan Love, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. If Jalen Hurts was in any other draft class the past 10 seasons or so, Hurts would have went in the top 10, no doubt. If it was 2022, Hurts would have been a first-round caliber quarterback. If it was even the year after 2021, Hurts would have been a first-round caliber quarterback. It's not because he was drafted in the second round. It's because all of those quarterbacks were talented that season. And 4 out of the 5 I mentioned are top 10 in the NFL right now.
And to Jack's point, like Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, is not a top 5 quarterback. Like the Eagles built a super team around him. Like you cannot give Jalen Hurts all the credit. I know he's Super Bowl MVP, like you mentioned, but you cannot give him all the credit for the Eagles' success. They built a damn super team, have the best GM in the NFL. They put Hurts in a position where it's impossible to fail. It's not all Hurts.
Two things I will address there. He's not played like a second-round quarterback. Any quarterback who wins a Super Bowl is not a second-round quarterback. I mean, it's a fair point there, Jack, absolutely. But the difference between Jordan Love, the difference between Joe Burrow, the difference between the other guys that you name there and Jalen Hurts is one has won a Super Bowl, one has not.
If you place Justin Herbert on the Eagles, he's having nuclear numbers, and he's
sure we can do that. But Jalen Hurts has been exactly that the Eagles need. He's been able to manage the game. He's been able to command their offense, and he's won a Super Bowl at the end of the day. It's not about the conversation. Oh, is Jalen Hurts a top 5 quarterback or not? I think that's a ridiculous debate. At the end of the day, my case in point is you don't have to be selected number 1 overall to be a incredible quarterback.
Hey, where was Tom Brady selected? Where was Nick Foles selected with the Eagles? Where was Nick Foles selected? He's where like so. You look at Dak. Dak was a 4th rounder. He's a good quarterback. He's a really good quarterback. I mean, in the end, my thing is I do feel a little weird about that conversation because in the end, I've said it. Sure, you should definitely select a quarterback later if you can, if it's your guy. Like Drew Aller would have been their guy. We could see them punt QB here in the top because they don't feel so great about Mendoza and go get Drew Aller in like 3rd, 4th round. they could shock us.
Yeah,
And
and
take 2 players instead in the first.
And DNY for life actually comes in. Thank you for the $2 super chat. This is a perfect transition. And Philly, we appreciate the call. We'll get to your your take here in a second. Thank you for
All right.
support, my friend. Go
Yes,
Jets.
sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Philly. We appreciate it. Great insight there. DNY for life. Perfect transition into this. A $2 super chat. It says, take Drew Aller in the second or third, sit for a year. I was talking about this with my dad earlier today on the couch as we were watching the games. I don't know about second or third round DNY for life. Again, we appreciate the super chat here. But he is certainly a player. He's sitting there on day 3. Even if the Jets take a quarterback, like it can't hurt to throw, a second ring into the fire with Aller, whose athleticism upside is evident. It just is unknown how he's going to recover from this injury, and a 4th or 5th round pick being allocated towards Aller is no harm at the end of the day. So, at best, maybe you find your long-term backup, or maybe he is your guy after all. So I am not against allocating a late round pick towards Drew Aller.
I agree with you 100%. You know my opinion coming into this season on drafting a quarterback in the later rounds. Like my perspective on this is it could create unnecessary controversy on whether or not will that suppress you from taking a quarterback in 2027. But if he's gonna set to start this year and the injury is going well and the surgery or whatever he has going well, I don't see why not. Because we're going to know if he sucks or not by the end of, if he plays at all next year. But, I don't want there to be any unnecessary controversy. Either they're drafting a quarterback this year or they're drafting one in 2027. So, I just want them to have either allocate a top pick either now or in the future. I don't want, any, controversy in between when we take a quarterback in the 5th round, hence Drew Aller, and there's noise about just letting him be the guy and not drafting anybody in 2027. No, I want a top quarterback and I want them to build everything around him. And if he fails, we're waiting another 10 years to succeed. But if he hits, we're going to the Super Bowl. That's what I want it to be.
I want the best quarterback. I don't care where he comes from. If that's Drew Aller in the 6th round, cool. Then have it be Drew Aller. I don't care where the quarterback comes
No,
from.
I agree with you. I'm just saying I don't want Drew Aller to create any unnecessary noise about not taking a quarterback in 2027, not when you don't even know what he is. So I want to, if they're going to pick him, I want them to pick him with the intent of knowing what he is, not sitting him and developing him.
It's a fair assessment, Jack.
I think sitting and developing him, not even just Drew Aller, I would be on board with sitting and developing any quarterback that we get, whether 2026 or 2027. We've seen this monstrosity before, and the amount of mistakes the Jets have made by throwing in a rookie quarterback right away. For example, our last 2 quarterback drafts in Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson. I get those guys I get Darnold had horrible coaching. So did Zach Wilson. But Zach Wilson was also Zach Wilson, to be fair. But for the same reasons, why the Jet fans wonder why the Jets suck so bad. It's because it all starts at the top. Poor ownership can make or break a team. And what we've seen with the Jets since the Johnsons have taken over, clearly the Jets cannot develop a rookie quarterback by just throwing them out there into the pile of New York football right away, which is why I to be honest with you, I'd rather, if the Jets get Mendoza this year, I wouldn't be mad if they decide to start him right away. But for my preference, I would rather them get a veteran quarterback and at least have that veteran quarterback start for the first half of the season. I think it's just too much of a risk to throw a rookie quarterback in the New York media right away. If he fails, the morale goes down. When the morale goes down, the team morale goes down. Team morale goes down. It's a whole reset again, shipping him out the door if he doesn't play well. So it's uncertain right now what a rookie quarterback like Mendoza or Aller can hold with the Jets with starting right away. But you don't want to risk it again, like how you saw with Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson.
Well, I do disagree because of one key point. Sure, you can mention coaching and things like that, but at the end of the day, the Jets didn't have the infrastructure, the formidable surrounding cast on offense that they do right now with Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson. That's the huge difference. They didn't have an offensive line. They didn't have a singular pass catcher. This is a prime opportunity. Sorry?
Robbie Anderson, Quincy Enunwa. You had Robbie Anderson and
Quincy
Jamison Crowder.
Enunwa was the 6th-round pick who retired 3 years into his career. Robbie Anderson was an okay wide receiver 1. Sam Darnold had Adam Gase developing him and an offensive
Absolutely. I think
line
Gase absolutely ruined Sam Darnold. That's why
and an offensive line made out of paper.
I mean,
So-
Mike LaFleur didn't do any favors to Zach Wilson.
Yeah, dude, like Mike LaFleur, that's an interesting conversation to have. Everyone's like,
I would actually like him to be with this offense, to be honest with you. He was very creative and very innovative. I mean, like, you guys remember those plays? Was like the flea flicker plays with Zach Wilson. I mean, at least that's better
Yeah,
than what we have right now.
oh, I disagree. I think Angstran's been an incredible play caller when it comes to play calling.
I'm talking about creativity. Like, I feel like there's not enough creativity. I feel like it's just, very conservative play
Brees
calling.
Hall threw a touchdown on Sunday.
That's the first one we've seen all
love
season. That's the only one we've seen all season, and he pulled it.
Well-
He pulled it right out of his ass when he should have pulled it out 6 weeks ago.
They've ran multiple end arounds. Like, you can't do a flea flicker every week. Like, that doesn't work.
No,
in
I'm
the
not saying. I'm just saying,
NFL.
but like, at least just stop doing a lot of just regular. He's not using Justin Fields to what he needs to be. I've said this multiple times on the show. He's using him to be a pocket passer, which is not what he is. One, two.
Well,
I mean,
I
they're
don't- I
not
don't
doing enough
think-
RPOs. They're not doing enough direct quarterback
Just
snaps.
making
They're not doing
word.
enough options. They're not doing enough. I like Angstran. I love having a young offensive coordinator. I'm giving him a lot of time for me to make my full judgment on him. But if we're talking about him and LaFleur's playbook so far, I'm leaning more towards LaFleur's right now. Again, this is Angstran's first year. Who knows what to come for the rest of the season or year 2, which is why I'm not really making a full judgment right now, but I'm just saying what I've seen and what I believe so far.
So you mentioned like them using him too much as a pocket passer, and I happen to agree with you. But like, what I will say about that is like I kind of like how they were seeing what he is as a pocket passer, because like you can't have a quarterback who only is good on the rollout. Like you need to see if he can be a pocket passer.
Yeah, okay, but they're using that too much. I get it. You have to pass a lot of occasions now. It's a passing game for crying out loud. But I mean, you have a run first quarter. You have You have all the pieces you need to be a successful run offense when
They
they're
have.
really I know, but I'm just saying, but like they're not running a lot of options. The triple option is nowhere to be found with Beck or Brees Hall. There's not enough RPOs going around right now. There's not enough direct quarterback runs right now. It's just Justin Fields. Wide 80 was out. He's dropping back. He's dropping back in the pocket, checking it down right to his running back, or they're running it up the middle with Brees Hall. That's where you really call
Brees
a
Hall
run.
averaged over 6 yards a carry, though.
I get it. I'm just saying, but like we're talking about in terms of play calling and playbooks here. Okay, I just think that, again, like I said multiple times throughout the past couple minutes, I'm not making a full judgment on Angstran. I just don't feel like we're seeing enough of what this offense should be running.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying, Jack. I would want to see more of Justin Fields running, but I think it's too late like now to salvage anything with Justin Fields. Like, you know that he can't throw the ball. You know, like you knew coming into the season that he was a good rushing quarterback. Like, I get why they wanted to put him in a pocket passing kind of situation to see if he's capable of doing it. The answer to that is he
obviously has been. He hasn't been. We've known this since week 1. Really, we know he's really not really the best passer in the NFL, but we really started to see it in week 2 against the Bills. We really started to see it when he came back against the Dolphins. I mean, it's in my opinion, you can't just do the same things over and over again when you see it's not working. They should have adapted to this 5 weeks ago.
I agree. I mean, this is just all evidence why, like, I mean, this has been clear by now. This goes without saying, but Justin Fields is not coming back, and after the season, he'll never play another snap as a jet quarterback. Like you gave, this is the experiment. This
I don't
was
even know if in the
you
NFL
found
again.
out. You got the result to your experiment. He can't pass the ball. He's only good for his rushing ability. They should use his rushing ability more if they decide to start him over Tyrod. I don't even know if that's been reported yet because of Glenn's stinginess with the media, which at this point, like, bro, give it up, bro. Your team sucks. You can try it again next year, but the act with the media, your team is not good enough for you to be
I
doing
called
all
that since May.
Yeah, but your team is not good enough to be doing all that anymore. But I mean, like Justin Fields, you know now you can start tailoring the scheme to his rushing ability, but like he sucks as a passer and that he's never gonna play another snap again if you really have a good assessment of him.
Yeah, I'm not ready to sign off on that yet, right? Because he's under contract for next season. And if he does play well in these remaining 9 games of the year, and he does turn a corner, yes, these games are for pride. They don't matter for playoff implications, but the Jets are still going 110% every snap. The opposing team is going 110% every single snap. If Fields comes out and has some sort of renaissance for his standards, look, it's going to be an interesting conversation to be had. But personally, I would rather trot a player like Justin Fields if he does play well, and we see like the first 6 games he had with Pittsburgh for the final 9 games here in New York. I would rather have him be the starting quarterback next year than a Jacoby Brissett or a Marcus Mariota.
I mean, I'd rather have Jacoby Brissett as because he can pass the ball. Like Justin Fields, like we've seen enough. Like there's no
Can he really though? He went 1-8 last year as a starter. Like he's not a good quarterback anymore. He's old. He offers nothing at all that's going to provide any value to your team. Like there's no point.
Justin Fields, bro, but we know like he's only good for his rushing ability, and he can give you a good passing game once in a blue moon, like we've seen this year. It was just a Steeler game and last week where he really was on point throwing the ball. Like he takes way too many sacks. He holds onto the ball for way too long. We know he's done. He is finished. He should have been finished. He should be benched for the entire rest of the season by now. If it was up to me, it should be Tyrod Taylor out for the remaining games, but like if they want to keep Fields in, whatever. But like it would be a disgrace to me if he came back here next year, because doesn't matter how well you play, these games are garbage time. Or the season is already over. It's already over. So
10-7 incoming.
Yeah, Fields couldn't pitch me anything to let me start him ever again.
Well, at the end of the day, Chris, no one had playoff expectations for this team. Realistically, maybe you, but like at the end of the day,
well, me and Nick Ferrier did, but we both said it was going to go 9-8. You said 8-9.
Yeah, I thought 9-8 was absolute asinine.
I said 8-9, but my catch was I had them starting 1-5 to begin the year, and I had all their wins coming later on in the season. So I foresaw a pretty, similar start to what we've seen now.
Did you have them going 1-5 to start?
Yes, 1-5 to start the year. And I had them.
I know you had them losing to the Saints, which now
I'll
be rooting for them to lose to the Saints this year.
I had them 1-5 to start and 2-6 at the bye. So it was 1 game off entering the bye week. I had them beating Pittsburgh. That was the only other difference. I had them beating Pittsburgh, and I forgot who I had them winning the second game against. At the end of the day, Chris, these games matter just as much as the beginning games, because this isn't like last year where we had them going to the Super Bowl. They might be 1-7. Every game is precious for every single player. There are 17 games in a year. These games for me are no different than the first half of the year.
Hey, how was my ceiling of 7-10?
Good games.
The one that you pivoted off of and had them winning 8 games this year.
Okay, well, the more I looked into the schedule, I say 8-9. But I mean, how is it looking right now? If anything, 7-10 is a little bit of a stretch right now for a ceiling as well.
They shouldn't win over more than 4 games. I'm not even talking about what's in our best interest. I don't think this team is capable of winning over 4 games.
Agreed.
I wouldn't go that far.
Maybe. Okay, here's the thing. If they can beat Buffalo in week 18, if Buffalo's resting their starters, then, I mean, that would be a huge win. I get they're not resting their starters, but beating Buffalo is beating Buffalo. So, I mean, I think maybe they can squeeze out a win there, unless Buffalo's competing for the 1 seed or the division with New England.
They probably will be.
I think they'll most likely be competing with New England for the division, so I'd probably take that back, actually. But
smash the like button, hit subscribe. Chris, Jack, Connor, right here with you guys on the Next Gen Jets. So smash the like button, hit subscribe. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw all of those in the chat column of the show with the link at the top of the chat. Next up here on the show is Nathan, gracing us with his presence right here on the program. Nathan, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, how are you guys?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good. What about you?
So yeah, I just wanted to talk about the tanking talk, because it seems like a lot of fans are in favor of losing these games, and I just don't see the upside in that. Well, obviously I see the upside, but I don't think that it's worth it. I think it's much more valuable. Well, I'm not saying this is likely. If they go 5-4, 4-5 the rest of the year and show that they have promise, because while the trade deadline showed us that we're a rebuilding team, it also showed us that Glenn and Muji are here to stay, and we're not getting rid of them after this year. We're not getting rid of them after next year. And they're most likely staying for the year after that as well. So I think Glenn's really got to show us this year that he's capable of being a competent head coach. He's got to show us that he's going to make improvements from the first half of the year. we have such a young
Yeah.
team that needs to be a core part of our winning in the next few years.
Well said.
So I don't think it's okay to just like lose out the rest of the year and bank on Mendoza being your savior because I mean we need
Agreed.
guys like AZ Thomas to replace Sauce Gardner. Obviously not replace Sauce Gardner, but you know what I mean.
Be
Like be
a quality starter at the very
yeah,
least.
and
And
we
Brownlee
need
made like a
Mason.
really good play against the Bengals too to win the game. Actually, that was that
So
right.
yeah, I think it's just more important to develop this talent like Mason Taylor, our young tackles. I think it's just like there's so many more benefits from winning. Obviously, the culture. Maybe Reese Hall will want to stay. Maybe he'll get more free agents or the coaches in the future. Whatever it is, there are just so many benefits to building a winning team. And obviously, we're not going to be a winning team this year. But if we show promise at the end of the year and have a pick that's a few picks later, I think that's worth it instead of getting the first pick in a draft class that's not supposed to have a generational quarterback talent.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not about winning Brees Hall's approval because we're just gonna tag him anyway. So I mean, like these guys are all here to set. The core pieces are here. Garrett Wilson is under contract. Brees Hall, I hope they tag him. So I mean, while I do understand what you're saying, and winning games is always quality for the culture because this regime is here to stay now with all these moves that they made, and because we let them tear it down, we're gonna have to let them try to build it up at least. But still, I mean, like the easiest way to fix losing is to get a franchise quarterback, and Mendoza could be that guy. So I mean, I don't see the point in going out of your way to win these meaningless games. I mean, yes, it could help the culture, but like the culture, you can just build that through the next couple of seasons because this regime is here to stay. So since they're here to stay, you don't have to bank on putting all your gaining all that trust now. You can gain that trust through all that time and ultimately gain the trust by the best way to do it is by drafting a franchise quarterback, which is what Mendoza could be.
I mean, I totally see what you're saying, but I just don't think really any quarterback, unless they're like a really special talent, is going to be able to turn around a horrible 1-16 football team with a bad head coach. I think it's much more likely that if we show promise, we show that Glenn is a competent head coach, we show that, our young guys are building that, then it's much our quarterback
Yeah.
doesn't have to be this savior. And even
Agreed.
like the odds that Fernando Mendoza can come in and save a 1-16 football team and turn them around are very low. I mean, I just think it's more important to win. But
Well, I mean,
I
if
do
they
see what
play
you're
their cards
saying.
right, they have a lot of first-round picks. They
Yeah.
have a lot of talent already on the team. They have a solid O-line, young and ascending. They have their wide receiver one. They have a running back if they decide to tag Brees. So, I mean, like, he doesn't have to necessarily be the savior if you have a good defensive free agency.
A game manager.
Yeah, I mean, you can get that Mendoza, and he can as he goes on, he develops into more. I mean, he has elite ball placement, Mendoza. I love
That's a key
what
trait.
I see out of him.
You
That
need
is
to be able to
a
hit
quarterback.
multiple arm slots. You need to be able to throw with anticipation. And as we say that, I noticed that Jack Cotter has just left his chair. So Nathan, I will ask you, where do you think Jack Cotter went?
I saw you pulling up some comments. I didn't see what they were saying, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, he just decided to go MIA in the middle of your call. Nathan, nevertheless, great stuff out of you. Great call. I think your best one yet. You kill it every time, but this is a great call out of you, my friend.
Appreciate it, bro.
Talk soon and enjoy the game tomorrow.
Yep, thank you. I'll be there.
Oh,
I'm going.
hell yeah.
Wow.
I picked at the beginning of the year. I think I picked the wrong game. I wanted to see a win. I mean, came at the part of the season where, it's not as meaningful anymore, but I'll still be rooting for a win.
Hell
Sorry,
yeah.
guys. Just had to take a quick number one real quick. I'm back. I swear, I was holding it. You guys saw me drinking that lemonade. I've been holding that shit in since like 7:30.
All right, TMI.
You gotta
All
be
right,
fucking kidding
thank
me.
you.
Thank you, Nathan, for the call. Thank you, Jack. We were a little puzzled as to where you just ventured
cool.
on off.
That's
to.
cool.
By the way,
That's
did you guys see the report about Muji? Like, they knew the deal with Sauce was done Tuesday morning, but he didn't release it
Yes.
because the thing with mangled the
Yes.
mangled service was
Cla-
going on.
cla-
And he didn't want all
class
these people to like Muji has earned my respect. Like I liked Muji, correction, since he didn't go and fiend for just name value in last year's free agency. I liked what he did, kind of staying low key in free agency. Now he obviously this is a respectable move now, and all these trades just taking these offers this is please don't ever tell us that. These are all big moves. So I mean I'm liking Muji so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and sorry, I was a little caught off guard there with a text that I just received a couple minutes ago. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I have been a Muji fan. I was a little skeptical when they first hired him. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there were a lot of names, established names in particular.
Like that Broncos. Who's the Broncos assistant GM that we were gonna?
Muji.
Oh, sorry, no, sorry. It started with
Okay,
L. His last name started with L. I thought, or his first name started with L. It was like Lance Newmark. Oh, Lance Newmark. Lance
From the
Newmark, yeah.
Commanders. I did
Yeah,
not want that guy.
I don't know. I thought he wouldn't have been that bad, to be honest with you.
I can't critique anything Muji's done really so far. Even Brandon Stevens has played like a top cornerback since the start of week 4. I can't critique anything he's done. I think he's been incredible. He's found incredible value in these trades. Jawan Briggs, Harrison Phillips, Jarvis Brownlee, an in-season trade. And I think these two trades are going to pay off very nicely. And I think it was great negotiation tactics to piggyback off the Mangold thing that was made known about Muji, Chris. Another fact about that trade is A.D. Mitchell wasn't a part of that initial package. The trade was just supposed to be Sauce Gardner straight up for 2 first-round picks. And then Muji made a final push at the end, like, come on, hey, give us A.D. Mitchell. So I think that was great negotiation there by Muji. And I think a huge reason that I'm so optimistic about this deal as our guy DNY for life drops in and gives 5 channel memberships, baby. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Inky. What is a spotlight with the big black whips with the yof?
My very own bed in the toilet. A bomb shop haircut that costs $25.
I want everyone to know that that's all AI. It doesn't. That Connor made that with AI. That is all AI.
There we go, Jack. There we go. Love to hear it. Thank you so much for the gifted memberships, Devin. We appreciate you. Iceland Jet fan, Charles B, Bobbleneck, Antonio Ambrosio, Kyle Clifton, all receiving memberships. Thanks to our guy DNY for life. Thank you so much for your support, as always, my friend. Goes a long way. Jimmy is not letting this one get past him. Says, no, it's not. Sounds just like you, Jimmy, of course, being a day one listener of the program. So he knows exactly how you sound.
You use Sora for that.
All right. As Philly Noodles becomes a channel member as well. So thank you so much, Philly Noodles. We appreciate a great call earlier. Great to see you become a channel member right here on the show.
These are some of the worst feelings in the world.
No,
Part 4. And number 1, we have when you think you're drinking water, but you're drinking vodka. Yeah, that happened to me.
Is that AI?
That is so AI. Oh my gosh.
It's AI.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right from TikTok with the watermark and everything.
Yeah, no, that's AI.
All right.
That's AI.
That's the narrative we're rolling with now.
Yeah.
All right. Nevertheless, guys, super fun show. Thank you all for joining us. Super fun. Always great seeing all you guys in the chat. Over 130 Jeff fans watching us live, the hundreds that watch afterwards. Shout out to everyone. Smash the like, hit subscribe. It goes a long way right here on the channel, folks. Stay tuned tomorrow. Pre-game with Matt O'Leary, 11 a.m. and then a post-game video to follow it, of course. Thank you for your support as always. Jack, Chris, fun show. We got anything else? By the way, this will be our closing thought in the chat as you guys kind of unload on your final thoughts. Thank you for the sub right there. Shavo G, thank you so much for your support as always right here on the channel. And Matthew is coming to Jack's defense and says, why can't we make fun of Chris instead?
Bro, Matthew Smith, bro, it's not that deep.
So
Panthers fan.
I'll ask you a question. Why can't you make fun of me instead? Because I don't send all those videos in the group.
Yeah,
chat.
I was
okay. All right. Well, Chris, I have so many things that
Bro,
I don't share.
Don't open this can of worms, Jack. I will win this battle, Jack. Trust me. You do not open this can of worms.
One-sided.
Chris, you and I, we will win this battle.
Yeah, do not open that can of worms with me, Jack.
All right, you guys got any final thoughts here before we bounce on out of here, folks?
No.
Listen, let's go Brown smart, baby.
Wow. Okay.
My name is Chris Grasso and I love the Jets more than everyone else. I am a highlight warrior. Aaron Glenn is the best coach they could have hired, but under 4 games won and he must be fired. I love every 2026 QB just based on highlights. I have watched 5 minutes of Nico's highlights and he is a Hall of Fame. Arm strength is all that matters. This isn't the same old Jets. THE 2025 Jets are different. Justin Fields is the franchise guy, or Nico will be drafted in 26. Highlights are all that matter.
Thank you. What is that?
That's all I gotta say about to Chris saying "Let's go Browns." I mean, who doesn't want Mendoza? But you can never root against the Jets. Come on.
Oh God, Jack, what do you got?
Go Jets tomorrow. Hopefully they pull out a win. But kind of torn right now. I really want Mendoza, but you never want the Jets to lose. So I mean, go Jets. But at the same time, let's maybe think of the future here. Have a vision, Aaron Glenn.
Let's go Jets, baby. You heard it right here on the show. That'll do it for us on this Saturday edition of the Next Gen Jets Show. For Jack Cotter and Chris Grasso, I'm Connor Long saying have a great rest of the evening, Jets fans.
And a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
JTS. Jets.
Peace out. Have a great night, my people.